Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. I am Danielle Carr, host of Reset Retreat, and today I have with me Pastor Omar Bennett as well as Minister Christina Roderick, who will be one of our speakers at the retreat on January 25, 2025. And so we're just going to have a little conversation about some of what she's going to be talking about what the retreat is going to be offering, and how you can register. Okay, so Pastor Omar.
Hi, Pastor Daniel. Good to be here.
I'm glad you're here. Thank you for doing
Oh,
this with me.
You're welcome. How is your day going?
Wonderful. I'm excited.
All right, wonderful. I'm looking forward to this conversation. Looking forward to hearing from worship leader Christina Broderick. Um, very excited about your conference and want to encourage you because I know this has been a long desire of yours. And so um, I'm glad that God is putting all things together so that it will work together for your good. So looking forward to it. I know it's more than 31 days away, but it's not long because time is moving faster than ever before. So in the twinkling of an eye, we'll be at the 25th of January. So I hope um, all those who attend will have a fruitful time in the Lord and enjoy this time of understanding the purpose of God's rest in terms of our personal lives. So, yeah, let's welcome Christina, Minister Christina Broderick. Christina.
Hi everybody.
Yeah.
Never been a minister before. Really love it here. Hi guys, hi everybody.
All right. Listen, before we even get into our discussion, though, before I throw it over back to Pastor Daniel, what I want to do is just share with those of you who are watching, just a little bit of where the event will be and what you can expect. We have a video that I'm going to show you. But in the meantime, this is Pastor Daniel's platform as well. And so if you're watching for the first time, it would be so nice of you if you like the video and if you have not yet subscribed to her channel, make sure that you take this opportunity to subscribe to this channel. We are hoping that by the 25th of January, she would have surpassed over 1,000 subscribers. And you who are watching, you are so important to this, right? Because you have a son, possibly a daughter, a husband, a wife, somebody that likes you, somebody that you like. And if you just took their phones, that's what you do. You don't ask them to. You just take their phones, you go onto the platform and you subscribe for them. And make sure you hit the notification bell. Right? It's like a Peter and the high priest kind of a thing in the Garden of Gethsemane kind of movie you'll be making, right? Taking the phone is like removing the ears, knowing that God, through His Son Jesus Christ, will put it back on. So just go ahead and go get those subscriptions. All right, go ahead. So this is the video. Just watch it and enjoy. It's around 2.5 minutes long, and then we'll get into our discussion. Here we go.
Hi, you are at the beautiful Hibiscus Lodge, and I chose this location because it is right in the busiest part of Ocho Rios. It's on Main Street, and this little gem of a hotel is like a tucked away, quiet spot, which indicates all of what I want for you in this retreat, in Reset. I want for you that in the business of your life, there is a turnoff and there is a place with the Lord that you can go to, that you know, a familiar place of rest. And I know that for many of you, it has been an elusive thing for you, rest. You don't even know what that word means. And so Reset on January 25, 2025, a Saturday, I'm inviting you to come for a one-day retreat to learn about what it means to rest Jesus' way, for a different pace and a different way of walking with the Lord. It is going to have teachings and spaces of rest. Of course, you'll have your meals and some giveaways. But most of all, what I want for you for the beginning of the year is for you to enter into a new way of walking with the Lord. It is possible. I really hope that you will join me, join me on this journey of figuring out how you can change your life, how you can walk with the Lord in a different way, at a different pace. And I am telling you, it is possible. And if it is speaking to you, I'm asking you to set aside the time. Give me a day. Give me a day to talk to you and to see if your life cannot be different. Okay, so I'm looking forward to seeing you. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.
All right, wonderful. Wonderful. No, I don't know. I don't know if there's much we need to say after all of that.
Hey.
Right, Christina? I don't know. I don't know what to ask. I don't know what to
I
say.
think that's enough. I think
Yes, I
the
think we
people
should
just
just.
really need to come.
I agree.
About you now. I'm going to ask you a few questions, and then I'm going to let Pastor Omar ask. So both of us, whatever it is that's on his heart. Okay?
Sure.
I want to start with tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got along the journey of worship ministry. Because I know that maybe it hasn't always been you at the front, but you have been in worship ministry for many years, leading the
Right.
people. I want to know, tell me about you and how you got to where you are.
All right. So my name is Christina Broderick. I mean, people call me worship leader, which I'm not really big on titles, but it's what I do. And if I may dare say it's who I am, I really love to use my gift to help lead people into the presence of the Lord. Uh, I worship at Family Word and Worship, host pastors Juno and Trudy Tucker. Absolutely love them. Shout out to them right now. Um, right? What else about me? I love nature. I love swimming and all of that. How I actually got started in worship ministry. From a younger age, a tender age, I really started singing. I was caught up in music. My dad is a musician. He serves at his church, and I was always at the rehearsals with him. Even when my mom left church, I was always staying behind, always fascinated with music and the instruments. So I was always in that space of music and praise and worship. And then I think I joined the choir, and then from the choir, really just started to broaden my horizon until I joined my youth worship team at my former church. And then from there, it kind of just blossomed. I have served with Perpetual Sounds of Praise under the leadership of Nadine Blair, amazing woman of God. I think in that period of being with the team for maybe 4 or 5 years, really groomed me, really showed me just corporate worship, I believe, really showed me different means as to which like how different people connect with the Lord. I have shared stages with Juna Tucker, who's my pastor, duh. But most recently, Papa San, Alicia Taylor, just quite a bit of people, mostly doing background vocals. But also, I've been in worshipful spaces, in rehearsals, just really gleaning as best as I can, as the Lord really stewards my gift. So that's really it about me. So I think worship really found me. I think I kind of just stumbled into it. It's not like the Lord said, you do this. I feel like it was just the natural progression of my life.
When you're in like congregational like worship, like church, worship, what are some of the things that you hear, you feel from the people when you're worshiping? I mean, it can be anything. It can be from voice, it's whatever the substance is. And what are you hearing from the Lord? how do you deal with that as a worship leader? Do you just worship God for yourself, or are you thinking about the people? And what are some of the
It's a very interesting dynamic, and it's something that I'm still learning. So worship is firstly to God and for God. It's made for Him, and so it's almost like worship leaders and the worship team and the musicians and everybody, we come together as PVC pipes. We're really just the instruments that the Lord will flow through. We are literally preparing the way, as John the Baptist would say, for the way of the Lord. So we are leading people to Him. So it's both a concentration on Him and also a sensitivity to what He is saying in respect to the people who we're leading. Because, I mean, we at the end of the day, we need people to see Jesus. They're here for Jesus. They're not here for our talents or our gifts. They're here for Jesus. I think too, another aspect of it is not being so moved by the outward responses of the congregation, because 9 out of 10 times you might not get the outward response that you're looking for. So I think also we have to look to Jesus first and foremostly, but also just being very sensitive to the congregation, the nature of your church. Is it traditional? Is it kind of, like in between, so it really helps with the song selection and all of that. So yeah.
I know I've asked you to present on worship, Western worship, right? And without giving away too much of what you want to about what does West have to do with worship? What does West have to do with West? And after you answer that,
Okay. So I'm still preparing. I'm really still preparing. I think resting worship it's not a usual topic, because resting speaks to like a posture, but I think worship is more active too. So it's like this delicate balance between the stillness and the active form of worship, however that may manifest, right? So I think resting worship is also about abiding, mostly abiding with the Lord. In John 15, Jesus talks about, I am the vine, you are the branches, he who abides in me, and we know all that good stuff. But I think really it's about being connected with the Lord. It's this place of centeredness and this place of stillness also. So it's an active and passive thing where rest is concerned. But in terms of resting in worship, it's really abiding with the Lord, dwelling with Him, as well as just having this posture of humility before Him, even as you wait on the response, wait on Him to do what He says He's going to do, or simply just laying down your burden. So, in a nutshell, I believe that's what resting worship, or a part of what I have received so far, that's really what it is, or part of what it is. I see Pastor Omar Bruin with a question.
No. Before I even get to Christina, what I want to speak to Pastor Daniel about is I think you kind of touched on it, because how does one rest in this context without becoming restive? Because the whole ideal in the minds of many persons is that worship is a response to God. It is not so much to get God to respond, it is responding to who He is.
Right.
And so how do you respond in rest without becoming restive in that? And maybe Pastor Daniel can also that this is what you call her brainchild. This is something that
her baby,
the Spirit is birthing in her own life.
Well, but firstly, one of the main things, or the primary thing that got me through a lot of my seasons of hardship is worship. That active part is that literally singing. That everyone can sing, but it's singing and singing songs of worship. Even if I don't have a particular song, singing my own song of worship.
Right. It's it's engaging your spirit.
And so when I think about, rest in worship, I also think about like what you said, that abiding, union with the Lord, and even this week I was telling Pastor Omar that there have been times when the Lord has I felt the Lord come to me without my asking, so and I feel his presence in a palpable way, and his voice encouraging me, telling me that I am loved, that I'm taken care of, that he has gone before me, don't worry, all that good stuff. And so it is not just us doing all the work, like work, like, in God, but God is also acting and moving in our lives. And one of the things that I also learned recently is that this idea of rest, when Jesus says that I will give you rest in Matthew 11, I believe, a part of the meaning is that he gives us an exemption. It's like what he gave to Mary, that we get to remain, we get to stay and not do and not strive. So we have an exemption from the Lord to stay while he does the work. It's like what he did with Mary, what Martha was complaining about. Tell her to come and help me. And he said, what is given to Mary will not be
taken away from her.
She got an exemption from it. And a lot of times, we don't feel like we are deserving of it, or we don't feel like we can afford to take an exemption because there are so many things to do, because we just can't, or we just won't, allow ourselves to take what the Lord is offering. We don't have the faith to believe that if I give God this portion of time, that He will give me the time that I need to do my other, do the things that are important. So it's some of that, resting without just being passive or not doing anything, but it's engaging with the Lord, communing with the Lord, receiving from Him, not as much as, but even more than.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So let me ask you this, Christina. Well said, Pastor Daniel. Again, people, this conference is this retreat is on January 25th, 2025 at Almond Tree, or the Hibiscus Lodge in Oteria, St. Anne. If you see the banner, you can register. There's a number for you to call, and there is registration information, and you get good meal, good environment, and there'll be some good teaching. It's for male and it's for female, because we all need
Everybody
rest.
come.
There you go. Because the scripture, and this is what I want to get to, because oftentimes when these things are spoken of, or you hear about resting, a lot of it is on the emphasis can be on female. So like this idea, this concept of resting in this, because it deals so much with the spirit and the inner man. It's not so much dealing with the physical, while that is important. And so you'll read a scripture like, come to me all who are burdened and heavy laden, and you'll find rest for your souls. And oftentimes a man will view that as, listen, soul, well, that's not really kind of my thing, because women are more soulish than men are. Um, how can both male and female experience this resting of their soul, or getting the knowledge about the necessity of rest for your soul at, at a retreat like this? As you talk to them about the connection in worship with the resting that they receive from God for their soul, rest for your soul, meaning mentally, emotionally, and in the area of their will, in terms of direction for their lives. How do you anticipate the teaching, the sharing information on worship? And for you also, Pastor Daniel, a male can walk away from that, a female can walk away, a young adult, a married couple who comes can, a older person who is probably burdened by all of life stresses and complications. It's the 25th, and we all know that January have 5 months in it, right? So I mean, just that month alone, it's like 5 months in the month of January, because you think about all the things they did in December, and then that's like the day when most people are going to get their paycheck, and that's like for the first month in January, you know, that is done, and so you are so stressed already. um, how does the worship experience, the worship teaching deals with this rest for the soul in the midst of all that the people are going through and experiencing?
Well, one of the teachings, that the teaching that one of the teachings I'm going to be doing has to do with a way to trauma, right? Without getting too much into it, one of the biblical characters I'm going to be teaching about is David. And in my study, I've come across, like, even the fact that he wasn't able to grieve his son Absalom, even though Absalom, had come against him, and some really treacherous things, that his army was very upset with him and did not allow him to grieve his son. When we think about that, as well as the fact that David is the writer of most of what we use, um, language of worship,
Right.
it's a man. It's not a woman who is writing all these things. Men are not unemotional beings. I think are men get more emotional than women, but they have not been allowed to express that face to faces. And so I want this retreat to be one such, where they can get to not just receive teaching, but to have some practical ways. So we're going to have some times of quiet space. I'm expecting a few men already, and so we're going to have a short, even small time where the men can, talk amongst themselves and share. And so I just want to encourage any man who wants to come to the retreat, that it is also for you. I've used the color orange and no pink and purple, but even things like that, I don't want you to feel alienated from what the Lord has to offer in this area, because many of our men are running listless, just not listless, but just running breathless, you know, shallow breath and heavy heart, with nobody to talk to, not able to speak, not able to share the burden. So I want you to know that rest is an invitation from the Lord, not just to the woman of God, but from
All right, Christina.
Just before you go in, Pastor Omar, while Daniel was talking about David, I also wanted to jump in that he wrote most of the Psalms, as we know, but included in those Psalms are Psalms of lament. And in resting in the Lord, it's also a time of offloading as well. I don't know if we've ever experienced just being in the presence of the Lord and like people are just weeping. They're not necessarily singing the songs or anything, but it's almost like they're experiencing waves of refreshing. I think the Bible talks about times of refreshing that come from being in his presence. And then it just creates this, the presence of the Lord just creates this almost like this, you and the Lord can be one. And you are most vulnerable before him, and whether that's weeping, wailing, whatever it is. So I believe at this retreat as well, reset, it's also a place where you can one process trauma, but also know that you can also be vulnerable with the Lord in his presence. There is no need for you to hide, or I mean, where are you going to go from his presence? Come on. But just know that there is this space in the Lord where you can process your emotions, where you can process how you feel. David, David went through it. He said in Psalm 13, like, how long will you forget me, oh Lord? And he's like spilling his guts, so to speak. And he's pouring out his soul unto the Lord. But then at the end, David does this miraculous turnaround, and he goes into exaltation and praise and thanksgiving. And I think that's one of the beauty of the presence of the Lord, where we offload, but at the same time we get to see him as the exalted king. We see him for who he is, and we see him as one who draws close. And because of that, our hearts have no other reason but to exclaim and but to proclaim, like, like Jesus is worthy, like he's a real deal. So I believe at this reset retreat, it's also a way of just lamenting it. It's a pathway that we can also just see that the Lord also takes care of he's looking after us. He has not abdicated his responsibility to take care of us. And so, like David, we can pour our souls to the Lord in his presence and know that these things are safe. Yeah.
All right, wonderful. Listen, we're supposed to do this for like 20 minutes. We're almost at half an hour.
Okay.
It's amazing when you're having good conversation, how the time goes, which exactly with what will happen at this retreat. Again, it's January 25, 2025 at the Almond Tree or the Hibiscus Lodge in Ocho Center, and you can register at Daniel Carr/retreat, right? Or 876-325-7986. The number is running on the banner of this video. So it's Daniel with two N's, right? IE, two L's, E, Carr with a CARR. That's where you register, right? You have to register. There are limited spaces as well, which is very, very, very important for you to understand that it because it is so focused, it and so concentrated, it's for 50 persons. All right, they don't want to exceed that number, and people are registering, so you need to register ASAP.
Like today or whenever you see this video.
Like today. We don't want to say soon. I know how you Jamaicans are. I tell you to register soon. You're going to tell me, well, Jesus said that he's coming soon and he's still not here yet. So register ASAP, ASAP. All right, and make sure that you get connected to this, and you can hear more from Christine. I don't want them to share anything else, because I don't want you to say, well, I've gotten my little piece of nugget, so I don't need to hear anything else. I don't need to come to the conference. I've been delivered. I've been saved. That word has just been a blessing to me. I want them to keep all the nuggets for the actual conference. So make sure that you register. All right. Want to thank them both for coming on, as well, and being a part of this. Again, make sure you hit the like button, you subscribe, and share this content with as many people as possible. I know the joy, there's a joy in rest, and I know you will. It's so right, because I know Pastor Daniel wanted to do this at the back end of 2024, but God will have it that at the beginning of the year, it presents you with this opportunity. As you give a part of the first month of the year to rest, I believe that God will honor that, because there's a principle about first things. And the fact that you will dedicate, time out of this first part of this year for the purpose of resting in the Lord, I believe you will experience that kind of rest for the other 11 months in the year. And so come out and be a part of it, support this, be in prayer as well, because it also allows for the opportunity for people to be healed. And like David was looking at all that was happening around him, and then he said, and then I went into the house of the Lord. He went into the presence of the Lord. And he said when he went into the presence of the Lord, he could see what was the ending of those people who were in the fast lane, who were having all this stuff while he was serving God and going through pain and hardship. And sometimes life is like that. You feel like, oh my God, I'm doing everything right, but the people who are doing everything wrong are going so fast while I'm going so slow. David said, I got a different perspective when I went into the sanctuary of the Lord, when I went into the presence of the Lord. Like Christina said earlier, about abiding in the presence. And you will have that experience here at this rest retreat. Again, January 2025, and that's the 25th, right? Pastor Daniel, what is the cost for registration, and what does the cost include? And then we can close out.
It's only $8,000, and it includes your meals, it includes all your teaching materials, it includes your content speakers, and breakout sessions of different kinds of rest tools, afterwards, and of course, so I really hope you can come. I really hope you sign up and register today and join us on the 20th. Really wonderful, tremendous in your life as you are. You're going to be able to make some decisions about how the rest of your life.
Christina, what do you want to, just this is last occasion to get that last person who is thinking about it, and they just need to hear from Christina to make that final decision and to register. What are you going to tell them so they can register for the rest retreat January 20th?
Well, so much pressure. If you need a simple way of really just trying to navigate the new year, I would invite you to come. So many people start the new year with very high hopes or just resolutions, while some people, they're really just carrying over burdens from 2024. But I believe the reset is an absolute awesome way to just reset, complete reset of your body, soul, and spirit. So January 25, I'm looking forward to seeing you all. Register in the link below, call the number. You know what to do. Don't be like the others. You need to come. Please come to the reset retreat.
All right, wonderful. Listen, thank you so much, ladies. Enjoy the rest of the day. And wherever you're watching this from, remember, make sure that you subscribe, right? And you like the video, right? Make sure you like the video. Leave a comment, and we will respond to the comments. If you have questions, you can put those questions in the comment section as well, and we will respond to them. Have yourself a wonderful, wonderful rest of the day, and God bless you.